For decades, locals have kept this beast. Its back for work, its skin for leather, its bones for china, and its meat for food. In the past decade, the surging demand for its skin in China pushed up the value of donkeys. They were rustled, hunted, trafficked, sold, killed, anything to meet the demand. Their population was threatened, prompting bans against their exports across Africa. The ban in Nigeria didn't come until much later to save its donkey population. So who's losing in the donkey trade? Mai'adua in Jigawa is literally where Nigeria ends. 5 minutes from here is the border with Niger Republic. Here is the location of the International Cattle Market, arguably the biggest livestock market in Nigeria, for cattle, horses, camels, goats, and donkeys. The market runs much of the economy of this border town. Animal rearers, farmers, water vendors, lasso sellers, haymakers all depend on it to get paid for their services.
We transport donkeys to Enugu, Abakaliki, Aba, and we charge 4,000 naira for each. A truck carries 170 donkeys.
It opens every Thursday, every week. Breeders supply their donkeys to the market. Buyers size them up, inspecting them for purchase. It's the start of a journey to a dinner plate in the east, west, and south of Nigeria, or as ejiao in China. Ejiao, a gelatin made from donkey hide, was food fit for royals, but the increasing purchasing power of China's middle class increased demand for it. Women wanted it for beautiful skin, men wanted it for sexual prowess. The demand put pressure on Nigeria's donkey population, estimated at around a million in 1996. The Chinese demand put huge money on donkey skin. On the market, a donkey was only worth its skin. Once the skin was paid for, the animal was finished. Its price soared from around 10,000 naira to as much as 130,000 out of the reach of locals.
I have been in the business since 1985. From the years to this moment, donkey's business is really not brief. A donkey that was hitherto sold at 20 to 30,000 naira is now sold at meager price of less than 20,000 naira.
I spent more than 30 years in the business. Things have now deteriorated due to increase in cases of armed robbers on the highways and influence of fraudsters. Years back, we could load more than 30 trucks filled with donkeys for onward delivery to the east. It has reduced significantly. Now, the price of one head could range from 20,000 up to 40,000. We are calling on the government to devise ways that can spur our businesses. Here in Megatari, not donkeys alone. As we patronize with the cattle, goats, camels, we contribute a lot in generating huge revenue to the government purse.
I spent 20 years in the business and we buy them from Niger Republic. So our main problem in the business is that officials come here to confiscate them. Before I used to merchandise up to 17 donkeys, but I now struggle to sell even 6. Recently, I bought to resell here. There is scarcity of buyers. We are now in good days. Both Nigeria and Niger Republic need to strategize as to soften the impasse along the borders.
I am a middleman in the business and spent more than 30 years in it. From 10 years downward, donkeys are now considered of economic values. In the olden days of this market, donkeys were being sold between 7,000 to 4,000 naira each. Each truck is fetching 120 to 130 donkeys. And we spend up to 100,000 on the road as bribe to the road officials. We no longer make profits in the business as things have deteriorated. Most of the Easterners who have been coming here have now stopped coming to Maigatari.
Onyeka Hilary is vice chairman of Obiwanne Horse Dealers and Slaughter, whose members travel from Obolafo in Enugu to Maigatari to buy donkeys.
Just like you go to Abon State, that is the major depot we have southeast here, and that is the only state that consume it on the high side. When you come to Enugu State here, it's only people that share boundary with Ebonyi State that normally eat it.
Okay.
So it is because of the skin that the Chinese came in, and the skin was on the high demand. That was what made the business very lucrative.
Okay.
But a lot of people were buying, kill, dry the meat, sell it as a beef. But this other one, the skin, due to the demand of the skin, then after the business, you will still make profit.
Now the Chinese have tried to withdraw a bit.
Yes.
But you cannot rule out the possibility of them having agents. Do they have agents?
They have agents. Even as I speak with you, I'm one of their agents.
One of their agents.
Yes.
You buy the skin.
I buy the skin, process, and send to them.
And you send to them in Lagos, or?
I send to them in Lagos.
Okay.
I send to them. They have depot in Enugu. They have depot in Lagos.
In the wake of the rush for donkey skin, conservationists estimated Nigeria's donkey population was under threat. As many as 1.5 million could be lost in 3 years. A bill was raised in Parliament prohibiting the illicit dealing in and killing of donkeys. Several African countries already had the same laws in place banning export. China was constrained to look elsewhere for its supply. Now the shift is biting hard. Supply of donkeys is the first to be hit. Overnight, donkeys became contraband.
I go to Mai'adua, I go to Ilela, I go to Magatre, I go to Gaidam, there is a place in Kebbi State I normally go and buy donkey before. Formerly, I went to Mali to buy donkey. But after buying in Mali, when you are coming back, they will stop you on the road and say that the Nigeria government placed an embargo on a donkey, that you will not bring it in. Will you find a way to smuggle it in, or you find a way to leave it there? So a lot of people were losing money day by day because of what you encounter on the border.
Clement has been dealing in donkeys for 15 years. His father did the same for 40 years before him. He visits Mai'adua to get supply and ferries the animals, both live and slaughtered, to Lagos and Ibadan. The meat is cut, processed, and dried. Last year alone, he lost 1.6 million naira in investment after authorities sacked a processing center in Lagos.
Whenever they see this donkey, it will be like they see S-beat.
Okay.
We are facing more challenges, and this is now. Governments have to encourage us, because I will see this is a self-employment that I employ myself.
Now, before you used to load 1-2 trucks?
Now, before I used to load one, but now, because of problem or error, I'm almost loading half truck now.
Hundreds of kilometers away in mai'adua, the trade in donkeys is preparing to take off for the day, but suffering. The livestock market here is just minutes from the border with Niger. At least 1,000 youths make their living from the market. It's the economic base of mai'adua, and it's under threat.
Da muka loda mota 20 a nan kasuwa. Kowace mota za a sa mata jaki 100 a ciki. Za a sa 70 a ƙasa, za a sa 30 a sama. Kuma masu aikin da ke cikin motai.
I'm a loader of donkeys on trucks, which are transported to the southern markets. I'm 18 years in this business. Many years ago, we used to load no fewer than 20 trucks, carrying 100 donkeys each from mai'adua here. Now we are loading only about 5. Even the Chinese have pulled out of the business. This is due to the depreciation of the dollar.
So akalla na fi shekara 20 a cikin wannan harka saboda
I've been in the donkeys business in mai'adua here for about 20 years. There has been noticeable reduction of the number of donkeys in the market because of the commensurate reduction in the number of buyers. No merchant would bring his donkeys to the market only to find nobody to buy. But about 3 years ago, you would find about 2,000 donkeys in this market on the market day. Those were the days when the Chinese were in the business. Now the Chinese seem to have pulled out of the business. This is why many merchants from Niger Republic have stopped bringing the donkeys here. Because the Chinese have pulled out of the market of the business because of the skin in Nigeria, many local merchants and investors have also pulled out. Although they used to buy from Cameroon, Chad, and Mali, the Chinese used to buy the higher percentage of their donkeys from Nigeria here. In the past, tens of fully loaded trucks have leave Megatari market for the southern markets. Now we hardly load 2 or 3 trucks every day. The closure of the border has also reduced the number of donkeys in the market.
With donkeys now considered contraband, many dealers bring in animals to markets avoid border posts. They herd animals through bush paths. In the event they are caught by officials, they pay bribes of up to 10,000 naira on each donkey. It's happening on both sides of the border.
My name is Ibra Bala from Matamei in Niger Republic. I'm 40 years in the donkeys business now. Now, many of us are broke and out of the business because our donkeys are seized by officials. These officials are Niger Republic officials. In the past, I and my business associates used to bring between 500 and 1,000 donkeys to this market every Sunday. Now we hardly bring 30, with which we cross the border with after paying bribes to border officials. Just 4 months ago, I was a member of the Katsina State House of Assembly. I've been in this business for about 30 years now. In the past, between 20 and 25 trucks of about 100 donkeys each leave mai'adua every market day. This means you will find over 2,000 donkeys every Sunday here. Now we are witnessing a drastic reduction in the business. Reasons for this are: 1, the higher price of the donkey, making it unaffordable to many merchants. 2, there is a problem on the side of the Niger Republic. 3 to 4 years ago, we used to go there, buy the donkeys, load on trucks, which are weighed and taxed by the Niger Republic government officials. Then we would cross the border with our trucks without any problem. About 3 years ago, the weighing and taxing exercise stopped. This meant donkeys have now been included among non-export commodities in Niger Republic. This brought about a problem because impliedly it became illegal to export donkeys from Niger Republic. This rendered most donkeys merchants broke and out of business because they can no more import and transport to the southern markets. We have been pleading with our Nigerian counterparts to plead with their government to legalize the donkeys business. We have still not succeeded. The flooding of the donkeys business by the Chinese about 4 years ago brought about the higher price and higher demand. The number of donkeys merchants first multiplied when the Chinese were in the business because they empowered a large population of people with capital to do the business in Niger Republic and even Nigeria. That was when the Chinese would pay for the skin more than the whole donkey would cost. So we observed that the Nigerian government was signing a pact with the Chinese for the Chinese to be buying the donkeys directly from that country. We heard discussions reached advanced stage. I cannot confidently say if that pact has finally been signed, but the business trend now tends to suggest that.
Izambo in Ebonyi is typical of the southern market where donkey is big business. They are both food and trade artifacts. It's an economic base for the community. 3-4 years ago, thousands of donkeys that got here would have been slaughtered for their skin first before their meat. Processing for both meat and skin run side by side in a market known for its donkey business.
That chain, she goes around. The grass seller, the water seller. In short, it's created, for example, in this town, is the economic base of the town. So many, that is why this town don't find a lot of person want to be idle, you'll be idle. There are so many things for you to do. And if you don't buy, you don't sell, at least you cut grass for the donkey or you fetch water.
This market has been around since 28 June 1997. The same year, the Food and Agriculture Organization published a report stating Nigeria's donkey population to be around 1 million. It too felt the impact of the Chinese demand for donkey skin.
When this China came, they need skin, and they are buying the skin at a very costly prices. Most times, the price of the skin equals the price of the donkey. So, between that was 3 years ago, 2 years ago, because the whole thing started last year. The crash came down last year. Yes, late 2018. That was when the crash came down.
At that time, when the Chinese were interested in the trade, how much was a skin?
There was a time that the skin rose up to 60,000
per skin.
per skin.
Which is the price of even a donkey, or even
more than the price of a donkey.
Okay. So what happens after? Why?
So many people lost their money because so many investors came because of the high price, and they were buying to make their own. So most of the people that were not professional donkey dealers started coming into the business, and these are the people that the crash affected. Most of them lose their money.
Northerners and Easterners mingle freely, only as buyers and sellers. It is easier to find donkey meat on slaughter tables than beef or chicken. Young children hack the bones into cutlet, a business they've known since birth. The number of donkey skin coming from this abattoir has fallen off since last year, as has the price.
The decline in price is because of in fact, the fault is from the Chinese. You know, one can just come in, okay, I need 1,000 skin. How much is 1,000 skin? 1,000 skin, okay, 10,000 per one. The person may like to buy the 1,000 once, okay, I will buy 15,000. So now, it's not all the Chinese that are buying. Maybe they've bought enough. So that's why the price is coming down now. So anybody that comes to buy now determines how much he will buy. It's now the buyer's choice, no more the seller's choice anymore.
Dealers know that neighboring countries like Burkina Faso, Niger, Mali, Chad feed Nigeria's supply of donkeys. But restrictions and levies tied to donkey skin may have also contributed to make the trade less appealing for Chinese buyers and local dealers who front for them. Without an extra demand for skin, the trade in live donkeys for the table goes on, despite the losses and despite efforts to conserve donkey populations.